Hello good people of the internet, my name is Andy, you're watching Geek Curio. I'm going to be doing a review as well as a bit of a paint of these wonderful terrain sets which I got from a Kickstarter called Modular Realms. Now just as a disclaimer, I did not get these for free. I ordered the Kickstarter and I only opened these the other day when I was doing an interview with the creator, so this is not a paid promotion. So let's get to it. So let's have a look at what we have here on the table. So these are the tiles, and like I said, they are reversible. I think you can see the pattern quite well on the camera. Now here's how they break up, and this is how simply they go together. As simple as that. And there's a strong, it's like one of those tiny magnets built into the base, and it's just simple, and it's a wonderful product. I mean, I've got single ones here, I've got 2x2s, and I've got a couple of 3x3s, which are these ones here. But for today, we're going to be painting them up the wood side. The other side that I got is flagstones, so that's a flagstone one there. And I've been thinking about how I'm going to do this. So it's probably going to be, these are all pre-primed by the way, so there's no need to prime them. And they're quite clearly pre-primed, primed very well as well, I think. So I'm going to go with a base coat of probably Mornfang Brown, which is Games Workshop paint, and I'll be doing it quickly using my airbrush. So just going to switch that on now. Actually, I'm going to switch it on off camera because it's a bit noisy. These are brand new airbrushes by the way, so my old ones, if you've seen some of my tutorial videos, the old ones have completely given up the ghost. I am stripping them down, and me and my friend Jamie are pretty much taking them apart and seeing what we can salvage. But these are brand new, and this is the first time I've used this particular brush. So I do have a small bottle of water that I keep handy, so I'll put a few droplets in there just to make sure that it's okay to run. And yeah, like I say, it's a brand new airbrush, no issues with that whatsoever. So I'll just get the paint ready and we'll get this painted up soon. Right, so you know it's your lucky day when you reach into a big box of paints. The air ones were completely unsorted, and I managed to pick out the exact one that I was looking for. That's completely blind. So I suppose that's a good sign, makes it look like it's a lucky day. It's a shame there's only less than 3 hours left a day left. So I've got the Mornfang Brown. This is the air version. I'm going to give it a good shake because they have not seen action in quite a while. I'm also going to be doing a dry brush of Gorfor Brown on this. I'll probably be doing a wash of Nuln Oil, but we'll get the Mornfang Brown on first, and I'm going to show you how I do this. Now, this is an air paint from Citadel, so it should already be okay. But for now, I'm just going to add a little bit of flow improver. Let me just pull that away a bit so you can see better. So not too much, just a few drops, and do a little bit of the Mornfang Brown. A little bit more maybe. Now I know a lot of people like transferring their Citadel paints into dropper bottles, and I totally get that. I know why people do it, because I also use Villeco paints as well as Master Series and Green Stuff World, which pretty much all come in a dropper bottle. But I do like the fact that I can just very easily pour this back into the bottle with no problems. Anyway, let's get this going. I'm just going to bring this a little bit closer and just angle it a bit. There we go. Right. Now I've got the airbrush set at 30 psi, which is how I normally like to have it set up, but I may need to change that as I go along. Now I'll probably need to do about 2, maybe 3 passes for this, because I am using a very thin down paint. But I like to get a few layers in, and I can. Montang brown's quite a dark brown anyway, so I'd really like to see how this all comes out. And doing a couple of layers means I get a better chance to see it as it goes. Right, so first of all, I'm not that impressed with the Citadel paint because I've pretty much used almost an entire pot of that. There's only a little bit left in there. I'm not even sure if it's worth me just putting another coat on, but yes, I pretty much used probably about 12 ounces rather than full 15. Is it 15 in there? No, it's 12 mil in there. So I'll probably use about 10 mil just spraying up this. But like I say, the GW paints aren't really designed for doing terrain because you'll just get through absolutely tons of them. I have had a bit of a play with the camera because what you see here is not how it looks like in real life. I mean, looking at my screen, it looks to me like it's kind of brown, and it's very different to what it looks like in real life anyway. What I will do is I'll flip one of the panels over, and that's the difference that 3 coats of Morphang brown has made. So that gives you an idea. But what I'll do, I'll take some photos and I'll add it to the end or somewhere in the video for you. So that's the Montang brown base coat done. I'm going to wait for that to dry, and then I will be doing a wash of Nuln Oil. And after the Nuln Oil, I'll do a dry brush with not that one, this one, the Gorefall brown, and then probably something really light as a final highlight. So I'm going to wait for this to dry. I'm not going to let you watch dry because that's probably even more boring than watching me talk and try and paint, but I'll be back with you soon. Alrighty, so I'm back and I've got some Nuln Oil, which is pretty much talent in a pot. It's absolutely brilliant. Everyone loves it, and I think even people who don't use Citadel paint will still go out and buy the Citadel shade because the shades that Citadel do are fantastic. The brush that I'm using is actually a cheap, nasty craft brush that I got from the range a couple of years back, and it's been quite a useful brush. So I think I paid like £5 and I've got 5 brushes in there, and I'm going to take that back. It's absolutely useless. It's soaking up the Nuln Oil like anything. So I'm going to quickly come back and get a better brush. Right, I'm going to ask you all to ignore everything I said earlier about that brush. It turns out, after looking, I couldn't find the brushes that I normally use. My favourite brushes are packed away in a box somewhere and still have been since we moved. And I don't have time to go through all that now. So what I've done, I've just resorted to using the airbrush again, and what I do is I just pour the Nuln Oil straight in, and as you can see it's very shiny at the moment, but once it's all dried that should be okay. And it's okay it's like watering the plants really when you're actually doing a wash over something like this. I don't recommend doing it over miniatures. I know a few people who do, but I think this one's okay because we're looking at a very flat surface and all the detail is in that flat surface. But I think with the flagstones and the way that the flagstones on the other side work, I would probably feel better if I was doing it with a brush properly. So I'm just going to do a few more bits and then I'll leave this to dry, and once it's all dry we'll do a bit of dry brushing. One of the things you may notice is I found that I've had to alternate with left and right. Once again, because this is quite flat and I'm literally just painting straight onto the table, normally with a miniature I'll be turning it in my hands. When I was doing the airbrushing, it was only seemed to show up on one side, so I tend to switch hands basically just so I can get some coverage on the other side as well. But I think that's looking good. Normally look about 20 minutes for normal oil to dry, so we'll give it 20 minutes and I'll be back in a bit. So welcome back, and as you can see the board is a lot less shiny now, so now it's time for us to use the paint which I've put over there. Hang on, that's very clever of me. So dry brushing. Now the jury's out. A lot of people love these makeup brushes. Now I got these really cheap, and it's quite clearly nylon, and this particular one I think is absolute garbage, so I'm not going to be using that. This one I've not used before, but the quality of the brush feels a lot better, quite firm as well, which is what I like. But the best one that I've ever used is probably the Citadel dry brush. I have used the Army Painter one, but I've been able to use the Army Painter one for any sort of painting really. But it's got quite a nice wide head. This is a large one, so it's great for the terrain pieces. Let's give it a go, and I might give this one, I don't know. No, I'm going to stick with what I know. So I'll just do a few pieces first, and we'll see how that goes. So remember, the idea is to work up the paint into the bristles and then wipe off as much as you can. And what I'll do is take one off quickly and dry brush it up. Now, to me, that is actually picking up quite a bit of detail, but not too much. I think the brown is too close to the original brown, so I think it's going to be a back to the drawing board. Also, I've noticed that the wash that I used is still in between the cracks of the planks, so that needs to dry a little bit longer. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to come back in a little bit. I'm also going to look for a much lighter brown to do the dry brushing, so I'll be back in a minute. Right, so I've managed to finally decide on Scrag Brown. I've done a little bit of a test on this one here. Unfortunately, I don't think the camera really picks it up, but it's looking a lot better. With the dry brushing, I just go over very lightly and let it pick up all the details, all that wood grain. There we go. So I don't know how good that looks to you. It's not coming up very well at all, so what I'll do, I'll take some photos, and I think what I'll do as well, because it's getting quite late here in the UK, I'm just going to do this block for now. And actually a side by side is quite a good one. Now you can see that the highlights have picked up quite a lot. Unfortunately you can't really see the detail, so what I'll do, I'll get this one done up quickly, and then we'll finish up and I'll show you how you can use Modular Realms in your own D&D or any sort of tabletop RPG or campaign. So I'll be back in a sec. Welcome back. So let's have a look and see what we can do with these pieces. So first of all, I've got a couple of 2x2s. I picked up one of the 3x3s as well, and I think we had a whole bunch of the singles somewhere. I really should have put them all together. There we go. Really should have put that all together before I started filming. So just going to quickly snap a few pieces together, and I do recommend checking out Michael Mordor's video on this as well. He's much better at this than me. And as you can see, it's just simple, and that's what you want. And the price point of this was absolutely superb. I will have to go and double check my Kickstarter when I back this to work out how much I paid, but I've got a ton of terrain. I mean, when it comes flat packed, it doesn't look like much, but there is quite a lot there. I mean, I can make this into a bigger, much bigger room there. If I use some more of the singles, I mean, this is so much fun just putting them all together. Oh, that's the pity. I was hoping to put it there, but there we go. So look at that, I've just literally put together a dungeon, which if you have a few encounters you can probably get through that quite quickly. I'm just wondering if I got a mini around anywhere for me to put it on. Yep, there's always something that I haven't finished painting on my desk, so I'm just going to put that there. And what I'll do, I'll take a couple of photos and you can have a look. And yeah, so I will finish up painting this, but to be honest with you, that's ready to go now. I would like the wood to pop a lot more, so even though I dry brush these with the scrag brown, I probably will go for like a cream or beigey colour to really make those highlights pop. But the detail on these are, they're simply amazing. I'm looking forward to get more, a lot more. So Annabelle, if you're watching this, please make more. Anyway, it's been a blast putting this together and looking at it with you, and I hope to do some more of these video types soon. Stay safe and take care.